Welcome everyone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So we are in the third class of Isopanishad, and today we'll do a little different start. What I thought all the devotees can have a little opportunity to do the revision instead of me speaking. You can speak. So the idea is every devotee will just do one verse in the whole Isopanishad. There are 20 verses, almost 19, and there are 20 devotees, so everyone can do one verse. So today, last week we did invocation and mantra 1. So today invocation will be done by Mahavasu Prabhu and mantra 1 will be by Charu Mataji. So I will hand it over to Mahavasu Prabhu for the invocation revision. Prabhu, I'll just open the verse. Is that okay? If you need
Yes, Prabhu.
anything
Yes.
else, please let me know.
No, that should be all good, Prabhu. Okay. Because I'll be speaking more from the text. That's all.
Sure,
So,
sure.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, the invocation verse is Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnata Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vishishyate. So the translation is, the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as his phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself, because he is the complete whole. Even though so many complete units emanates from him, he remains the complete balance. So, as Prabhuji discussed last week, that the main part of this verse, or the gist of this verse, is the Lord and his energies are perfect and complete. So in this verse, Prabhupada actually gives explanation about this verse, and what we can actually learn or extract from it is that there are four things that are discussed in this verse. So the first thing is, who is the absolute truth? Then the second thing is, it talks about the material world. Then it talks about the jiva, or the living entities. And then the last thing is the relationship between the Lord and the jiva, right? So the first paragraph is that the Supreme Personality Godhead is the absolute truth, wherein Prabhupada starts with the sentence saying that the complete whole, or the supreme absolute truth, is the complete personality of Godhead. And realization of the impersonal Brahman or of the Paramatma, the super soul, is incomplete. Now, not going into the detail of this purport, I would just go through the few important points. So here in this paragraph, Prabhupada explains about few things. First is the feature, that is the features of the Lord, that is the Sat Chit Ananda, right? And then there's a meaning of it. The Sat means eternity and truth, and then Chit means the knowledge, and Ananda means the bliss or the happiness. So here, if a person has realized, like obviously each and every aspect of the Lord itself is complete in nature, but our understanding on each of the features of the Lord, or the realization of the Lord, is actually incomplete. It's us who is incomplete, not the Lord who is incomplete, right? For example, if a person has understood the Lord only to the platform of Sat, which is called as the eternity of truth, that means he had the realization of a effulgence or Brahman impersonal realization. And although the aspect is eternity, right? And the example for that, which we discussed, was of the sun, right? So the eternity feature can be compared to the sun rays of the Lord, of the sun. Now, if a person further advances into realization of the Lord, then he gradually progresses to the second feature of the Lord, which is called as the Chit feature. So the Chit feature is basically, the meaning is the knowledge, which means that the Lord is situated in everyone's heart, and which is called as the Paramatma realization. So on this platform, the realization is of the Sat and Chit, which is the eternity, that is the truth, and the knowledge. So put together, it is Sat plus Chit, right? Now, the people who are practicing say in the Sat, which are in the first one, they are mostly Gyanis, right? Whereas when they realize, when they go on to realize the Supreme Lord, then they come to the realization of eternity and knowledge that is more like Gyanis. And the example for that is not only he understands the sun rays, but when he goes on to understand the sun as an example, not only the sun rays, but he can understand that there is something called as the sun disk, right? And when he goes on to understand furthermore about the Lord, right, or realize about the Lord, then he actually comes to the highest platform, which is called as the Ananda, which is the bliss, the platform of bliss. Now, on this platform, the realization is based on the knowledge of eternity, the knowledge itself of the Lord and the bliss. And that is actually the complete transcendental feature of the Lord. And this is the basically the highest aspect of realization, or called the complete whole. Because in the rest of the two, the above two, that is the Sat, obviously the Lord is complete, but the realization is incomplete, because the Lord is not just, as an example says, not just the sun rays, right? There is more further aspect to the sun, which is called as the sun disk. But when a person understands the sun in further detail, then he understands that there is a sun planet or the sun god, right? So understanding the sun as a whole, as a planet, is actually called as the ultimate realization of the sun. Here in this case, to understand the Lord means to understand all the three features together, which is the Sat, Chit and Ananda. And when a person reaches to this platform, then is actually qualified to be called as a Bhakta. Prior to that, he can be either be a Jnani, a Yogi or a Karmi. But all these things, as Prabhupada goes on to explain, all these things are not just as the energies of the Lord. They are all a part of a form. And that form is the form of the Supreme Personality Godhead, and which is described here as Vigraha. Right? So all these three above, that is the Sat, Chit, Ananda, is in a form. And because he is the source should have a form. And that form is called the Supreme Personality Godhead, who is Lord Sri Krishna. So this means that at this platform, when we realize the Lord and we know the form, then Prabhupada says that that's the platform at which we start performing devotional service to the Supreme Person in the form. That means we don't worship on the impersonal feature, we are actually worshipping the personal feature of the Lord. And that's why Prabhupada goes on to explain, finish the paragraph by saying that thus the complete whole is not formless. If we were formless, or if we were less than his creation in any other ways, he could not be complete. The complete whole must contain everything, both within and beyond our experience. Otherwise, he cannot be known as complete. So then the next paragraph, which explains about this verse, is that the material world. So this material world is also complete. And how that is explained is in the paragraph which says, the complete whole, the personality Godhead, has immense potencies, all of which are complete as he is. Thus, this phenomenal world is also complete in itself. And the way that Prabhupada explains is that there are three energies of the Lord, right? And the three energies are the internal potency of the Lord, the external potency of the Lord, and the marginal potency of the Lord. So the internal potency of the Lord is exhibited in the form of the creation of the spiritual world, and the external potency is explained in the form of the creation of the material world, and the marginal potency is the jivas, or the living entities on this world. So here Prabhupada goes on to explain, Prabhuji actually explained, is that, say for example, the creation, which is from the Lord, that is, say it's the earth, right? So earth itself is complete in its form. That means the Lord has created the material world, the Lord also created the living beings. But at the same time, the Lord has created everything in this material world so that the jivas can actually live without being dependent on any other extra or external help. So that means there is any unit that the Lord has created is actually complete in itself, in the way that it does not need any extraneous effort to try to maintain the universe, because the Lord has given so much of energy, and the Lord controls the universe with its energy, that it actually satisfies and gives all the facilities to the living beings. And other important part here is that uh, although the Lord is the creator, or everything emanates from his body, like from say Mahavishnu, but it does not mean that the potency of the Mahavishnu actually decreases. Although everything emanates from him, that's also complete, and the Lord himself is complete, and from him everything that emanates is also complete. But it does not diminishes the potency of the Lord, right? And the Lord is so powerful that after he's completed that material world, he actually enters into each of them in every living entity as Paramatma, and he enlivens everything. So that's how the Lord is. The Lord maintains it, he creates it. So one of the calculations which Prabhuji gave was that in the spiritual world, it's like 1 plus 1 is equal to 1, and 1 minus 1 is also equal to 1. So it's actually infinite. The Lord is unlimited, his power is unlimited, whatever that he emanates, that's also complete. But at the same time, the Lord is never loses any of its potency or the power. So one of the creations of this material creation, or a part of it, is actually the marginal potency of the Lord, which is the living entities. And then that's what is explained about the human form. So this human form which the Lord has given to us in this material world, right, it's actually very rare. And then Prabhupada goes on to explain that this human form is one of the most complete form, or one of the complete living entities that the Lord has created. And how is that? It's because he says that all the facilities are given to the small complete units, namely the living beings, to enable them to realize the complete whole. All the forms of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete world. So what it means is that this human form of life that we have received is actually very rare, because it's one of the evolutions of 8.4 million species of life. So people in general feel that their life is to come to this material world and enjoy, because they don't have the real knowledge. But the Lord is so merciful that although he has created this material world, but at the same time, he has created and given us a complete process by which we can actually go out of this material creation and serve the Lord. And one of his creation is actually the manual that he gave to us, which is called as the Vedas. Vedas are basically the manual for the human beings, for human life. By following these Vedas, one can go back to Godhead. If Vedas was not given to us by the Lord, the living entity will have to stay in this material cycle, birth after birth, birth after birth. These Vedas actually explain the process, how to break this vicious cycle of material world. Thus, Krishna has given the complete human being the complete Vedas to completely liberate from this material bondage. So, human life is actually, if you see, human life is incomplete if we don't have the Vedic knowledge. So, Lord has given the human beings one important part, which is the consciousness and the intelligence. By the use of this consciousness and intelligence, one can actually try to find the real goal of life, which a person can learn by reading and following the Vedas, and by which we get eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. And that actually makes the human form of life complete in itself. Unless and until a person has got no inquisitive to learn the Vedas or understand the Supreme Lord, then his life or his form of human life is actually a waste. And why it's a waste is because these people then actually get into a form called as, people start living into enjoying the senses, called as sense gratification, which is actually explained in the 4th paragraph. And this sense gratification, although it's illusory, again, it's also complete. It's very surprising that even this sense gratification is complete in itself. And if you see, one of the example that we can say that, yes, we follow Krishna consciousness and then we follow the Vedas and that's our life is complete. But does it mean that the Lord is so biased that he does not want the other living entities to enjoy? Because the Lord has created this material world, he has actually created facilities for everyone, right? So what the Lord has done is, even though he has given us sense gratification for the people who don't follow the spiritual life, right? The Lord has given all the facilities for them to enjoy, right? So Prabhupada goes on to explain in this paragraph as, because we do not know that there is a complete arrangement in the nature for our maintenance, we make efforts to utilize the resources of the nature to create a so-called complete life of sense enjoyment. Because the living entity cannot enjoy the life of senses without being doubted with the complete whole, the misleading life of sense enjoyment is actually called as illusion. So here Prabhupada says that whatever sense gratification that people do in this material world, right? Namely the four principles that people do is actually eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, which is very much available to everyone, right from the ant to the dog, to the human beings, and to the other people or the other living entities in other planets as well. So the Lord is not biased. He's created everything for everyone's desire, right? But that's not the real thing, right? Because if we get onto a life which is all about sense gratification, then we are actually living in illusion, thinking that, oh, we are enjoying, but actually we are not enjoying, because that's not the actual goal of life. And an example that Prabhupada gives is that the hand in a body is actually complete only as long as it is attached to the complete body. So anything that a person does, right, that is in terms of sense enjoyment, is basically an illusion that will give him frustration, that will lead to frustration. But if the person uses that senses in the service of the Lord, then those senses actually help. By use of those senses, one can actually progress to the realization of the Supreme Lord. And yes, ultimately, the Lord says that to the most important part is the devotional service. One should follow the devotional service, which is the real goal of life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Very poetic explanation. Lot of completeness in your explanation. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you. I'll give to Charu Mataji for the verse 1.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
we'll
At the
try
back
to-
of this, I
we'll
just
try-
don't even want to talk now.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, please share whatever we have learned last week or whatever else you want to add. We'll
Yeah.
try to limit it to around 10 to 12 minutes so that we can
Yes,
proceed further.
it probably won't even take that long.
No, I didn't mean to say that.
No, my preparation is just very basic. So, mantra 1. Ishavasyamidam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyam jagat tena taktyakteena bhunjita magrita kasya svidhanam. So, Mahavasu Prabhu beautifully explained the invocation. And as Hemanga Chaitanya Prabhu had said in his class last time, that invocation is technically not a part of Isopanishad. And the invocation states that everything is Purna. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. And mantra 1, which is the beginning of Isopanishad, states that everything belongs to Ishvara. So the first point here is to see that everything is perfect. And it's perfect because it belongs to Ishwar. So living in harmony is the Ishavasya principle, and that is the underlying and unifying principle of this Isopanishad. It just centers, so everything is Ishwar-centric. That is what the principle is all about. So the mantra 1 talks about this principle. Mantra 2 will talk about how harmony benefits, how living in harmony in this principle benefits us, and how living in disharmony is harmful. So what is the connection between the invocation and the mantra? One, it is that in invocation, we see that Krishna is complete whole. So he is naturally also the proprietor. He's independently perfect. And we as conditioned souls are also perfect, but we are not complete. We are parts and parcels of that perfect being. We are dependently perfect. And how can we recognize that? By how can we understand that we are dependently perfect? By recognizing the Lord's proprietorship. To understand this, I'll just go through some of the Sanskrit meanings of this verse. So Isha refers to the Lord, and Vasya refers to reside. Avasya means to reside, that means he resides in it. So the Lord owns it, and Srila Prabhupada translates it as controlled and owned by Lord. So Isha, the Ishwar, owns and controls idam sarvam. So idam, as we saw, was also mentioned in the invocation verse. Idam refers to this. Idam sarvam, this, all of this is controlled by him. And then the verse says further, Yat kinchit. So whatever, Jagatyam, in this universe, Jagat refers to animate or inanimate. So again, what this means is everything in this universe, whatever exists in this universe, is controlled and owned by him. So the first line, which is Ishavasyam, it says he resides, and the second line, it just is just more an emphasis. It just makes his residence in this universe more emphatic. Tena tyaktena bunjita. So tena refers to by him, and tyaktena refers to the quota that he set apart for us. So tena tyaktena bunjita. I was listening to Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's class, and he says bunjita here refers to bunjita means enjoyment. So Prabhu was saying that scriptures do not deprive us of enjoyment. Even in the material level. Actually, scriptures are meant to elevate us to a spiritual platform and give us spiritual happiness. But even at the material level, the scriptures do not say that we need to give up all happiness. But how do we enjoy this? Tena tyaktena. So whatever is given by him, whatever is our quota, if we enjoy within that realm, then it's somewhat enjoyment. Again, Magrida refers to do not encroach. So do not encroach upon what is not our quota. Kasya vit dhanam, knowing that it does not belong to, knowing to whom it belongs. So ultimately, it does not belong to us. It's allocated to somebody else. I cannot take it. Um, I'm also reminded of, while I was reading this, I was reminded of a class by His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, when he was explaining the verse number 312, he refers to the word stena, and he says it's a very strong word used by Krishna. Stena means thief. And then he actually referred to this particular verse, Ishavasyam, and he said that Krishna has given us our quota. And so we just need to be very grateful of what has been given to us, and not take that does not belong to us. Because if we take what does not belong to us, then we fall in the category of stena or thief, and therefore as a thief we are punishable. So I just thought I would refer to this because the two have a beautiful link. Then let us now look at the purport by Srila Prabhupada. What I will do is, I've just summarized this, and then I'll just refer to allude to certain important points in each of the paragraphs. So the entire purport just says, I can just, or I have summarized in 9 points. The concept of Ishavasyam, that the world belongs to the Supreme Lord. One should not take, second point, one should not take things more than the quota assigned to him. Then the concept of apurushaya is explained here. That is the Vedas are given by Supreme Lord, who is beyond the purview of the modes of material nature. Another paragraph talks about war, strife, and actual peace formula. Then the distinction between human life and animal life and the significance of human life has been explained. Then infallibility of Vedic wisdom, which is actually the first. I should have arranged this even more in a better way. Infallibility of wisdom and its significance for human beings has been explained. Then description about how living entities can regain their sense of completeness by acting in relationship of Krishna, that's given. Vegetarianism is Prabhupada refers to vegetarianism, which is not sufficient for God realization. We should actually become Krishnatarian. And then definition of sin. So what are the consequences of deliberate disobedience of laws of nature by disregarding the proprietorship of Supreme Krishna? Actually, all of this purport, it discusses the abhideya, or the process of understanding the Supreme Lord. So now if we go into the purport, I will just highlight the important points that have been given. And before we begin that, again, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's lecture, he says that the first, so the paragraphs from 1 to 4, they explain the first 2 lines of the mantra. And then the remaining paragraphs talk about the next 2 lines of the mantra. So he's correlated the paragraphs or the purport along with to each of the lines in the mantra. So the paragraph 1 talks about how Vedic knowledge is infallible, how it is infallible because it is spoken by the Lord, who is Apurusheya. He's Apurusheya because he's not subject to the laws of material nature. He's perfect, and therefore whatever he speaks is perfect, and therefore the Vedas are perfect. Then the second paragraph talks about how Lord is Purna, he's complete, and there is he will never be subject to any laws of material nature. Then the third paragraph talks about how the Lord is the energetic and everything in this universe. So where it says Jagatyam Jagat, so everything in this universe is the Lord's energy. And Srila Prabhupada then quotes a verse from Bhagavad Gita, which says Bhumirapo Nalo Vayu. So he's talking about the elements of nature, talking about which is or I should just rephrase it. So here, the Lord's energies can be described as the para prakriti, apara prakriti. So para prakriti refers to his energies which are not material, and para prakriti refers to the energies which are material. And this whole world comprises of these energies. So they are Lord's energies, and the Lord is the energetic. Therefore, he controls all of these energies, and he's not affected by any of them. Next paragraph talks about how Lord is the absolute supreme personality and how he's perfect. And again, the example of light and fire is given. So what Prabhupada is trying to say here is just as the fire distributes the energy in form of light and heat, therefore the Lord also distributes his energies in different ways. And he is still the ultimate controller, the ultimate proprietor, and the ultimate dictator of every single thing. In spite of having all of this, he is very renounced. The next para then actually talks about how we should only use our own quota, the quota that is allocated to us, and how we should be grateful for that. The example given here is that cow gives milk, but she doesn't drink even 1 bit of milk or 1 drop of milk that she gives. So that is how the arrangement of the Lord is. Therefore, whatever has been given to us, he has kindly given to us. We should just be very grateful of that. And even that's been given to us can be taken away from us at any moment, and we should not be whinging about it or complaining about it. Then the next example given here is about how the house we live in is made of earth, wood, stone, iron, and so many other things. So material, but none of this material is actually created by us. We are just using we are just putting them together and transforming them into a different shape. So just because the transformation is done by us, we cannot claim to be the proprietor of the house. Again, I recall, I think similar example is also given in Bhagavad Gita, where the seed comes from the Lord, the water comes from the Lord, everything comes from him, but and then we produce, or the farmer produces the grain and says it is mine. It is not mine. Everything is coming from him, and even the how the grain grows, that is also done by the Lord. All we do is just cut the grain, harvest it, and make it into an edible form to consume it. Then we don't even offer it to the various entities that have provided all their energies to grow this grain, and therefore we again are verily eating sin. This verse is also quoted here, 3:13. In the next paragraph, Prabhupada talks about the capitalists and communists, and he says they can keep on fighting, but as long as they or till the time they keep Krishna in the center, they cannot come to any consensus, and there can never be any peace brought in this world. So in order to have peace in this world, they should follow the instructions given in the Isopanishad, and also follow a life which is very Krishna centric or God centric. In the next paragraph, then Prabhupada is comparing animals and human beings. He says that as human beings, we are not meant to quarrel like cats and dogs. We should realize the importance of this human life given to us. And Vedic literature is not meant for the animals. Vedic literature is meant for our upliftment. So cats and dogs, they can kill animals and they can eat them, but they'll not incur any sin. But if we kill animals and if we eat them, we will be incurring sin, because that is not our, because this food is not meant for us. Just like a tiger is not meant to eat rice or wheat or drink cow's milk, because he is a carnivore. And there are certain animals or certain birds which are herbivores. There are certain animals like cows, elephant, which are herbivores. Similarly, our responsibility is to eat food that is provided in nature in a way that it produces minimum harm to the to nature. And although we are meant to be vegetarian, it doesn't say that, he goes on to say that yes, we are meant to be vegetarians, but it doesn't mean that you just willy-nilly cut plants and you eat it. You have to offer everything to the Lord and then eat it. So vegetarianism does not lead to Krishna consciousness or God consciousness. You have to offer everything to the Lord and make it Krishnized to be able to understand these instructions given in the Isopanishad, and follow them. So prasadam prepares our mind for the mercy of the Lord. And if we don't follow all of this, then what happens? We incur sin. So if we take more than our quota, then we incur sin. One example that I forgot to mention here was that animals are better than human beings in many ways, because they do not they are not greedy. They just take enough, as much as they need. So there is enough for everyone's need, but there's not enough for everyone's greed. And if we if we are if we recognize the Lord, or if we put the Lord in the center and live that kind of life, then we can go back home, back to Godhead. And as I said, this is the principle of, or the process of Abhideya has been explained in this particular verse. Thank you very much, and please excuse me, please forgive me for saying things that I should not have said or said incorrectly. Please, Prabhu, correct me as well.
Okay, very nice. This was your basic points. I don't know how will be your advanced preparation.
Sorry,
was just
Prabhu,
the
it was
basic.
literally 10 minutes. I've just come back home at 5 o'clock and I've just done this.
That shows, Krishna has given you so much to say and share. Next time, we can take the whole class, Mata. You have a lot of nice things to share. Prasanatha Prabhu, sorry, you raised your hand. I didn't want to interrupt Mataji.
Just had a doubt actually when like Prabhu was explaining, like he said sense gratification is also complete. I didn't understand that actually. What does it mean? Like, if it is complete, then no one wants any other things, right? Why do we feel that incompleteness?
Okay, Master Prabhu.
Prabhu, my answer is very simple. Hemanga Chaitanya Das is qualified. He can explain.
No, this is your responsibility today. You have to justify your whatever you just explained.
Okay. Yes, senses. How do I explain? See, Prabhu, it's so difficult to teach. I'm telling you. Okay, just 1 second. Let me go to my notes. I'll just read through my notes.
Okay, it's a simple answer. Prabhupada writes in the purport that perfectness or completeness, whatever you want to call it, it's illusory. That's it. It's not real. So like Prabhupada gives an example of a mango tree. If you want to taste the mango, you cannot be happy with the reflection of the mango. You have to taste the actual fruit there. So the sense gratification, which we think is complete, like many people in the world, 99.99%, you can say they don't feel the need of God at all. And they feel they are just complete in their sense. So from that perspective, it's said, and Prabhupada writes in the purport, I'll just go back. Somewhere towards the end, he said sense gratification is illusory happiness. The illusory representation of the completeness cannot fully satisfy them. Said okay, Prabhu. Now, also, Prabhu, if you want to add something.
Oh, yes, Prabhu, what you said is true because it's only illusion. And well, the reason when I was actually reading that paragraph, it struck me very nice. It struck me that, like as you said, there are so many people who don't want to believe in God, right? They are here only to enjoy this material world, and that's what everyone says, that you are born in this world so that you can enjoy. Even for such people, even for such desires, Krishna has created this material world that will actually make them feel it is complete. And because they keep on desiring it birth after birth, Krishna gives them that birth, and with that desire, fulfills their desire every time. So, in that way, obviously, it is complete. But it is incomplete because those people, they are not using their intelligence and the consciousness to understand the real goal of life. But Prabhupada goes on to say that once a person understands the real goal of life, then the senses that we have engaged in the material world thinking it's complete, if they actually engage in the service of the Lord, then it becomes the ultimate real complete, because that enables them to go back home, back to God. That's
I think
what
the
I
only
heard.
word we have to use here, illusory completeness.
Illusory.
Yeah, rather than saying complete, illusory sense of completeness, liberty here. Prasanatha Prabhu, you are okay?
So you're saying, Prabhu, that it's illusionary completeness. It's not.
Yeah.
We feel that it's complete, but actually it's not complete.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what is called Maya.
Okay.
Maya means, no, Prabhupada said ma, yeah. So ma means no, ya means this. This which does not exist, we feel like it exists. My family is everything. I have a nice family, I have a nice job, nice money. People bow down to me. Why do I need anyone else? Many people living in mode of goodness, they feel I don't need to go to temple. Temple, you should only go when you are artho jigyasu artharthi. When you need money, you are not well, life is, not treating you well, then you go to Krishna or any other demigod and beg. I don't need anything. I have everything. So people even in mode of goodness, they get this bewilderment because of their sense of completeness, which is actually illusion.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Many rich people in India, you go and call them for a Bhagavatam program, they will never come. You go to a poor person, he will immediately come. He will take a day off. Rich person, arey, time kahan hai? I'm such a busy person. Do you know me who I am? And I think I quoted before, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj gave a class, and the title of the class was The Prisoners of Success. They're so successful, they think at least, huh? So they are the prisoners of their success. So it's better to, get some drawbacks in the life, because that will keep us on our toe. No, we need help. We need Vaishnavas. We need God. So even we start from that conditioning that, I'm in trouble and God can help me. That's okay. That's okay. That's at least we are connecting with God. We're not saying, okay, I'm complete. I don't need God. Okay. Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Let's move to today's discussion. So today we'll start from verse 2. Again, this is a simple Prabhupada purports here. I have just highlighted the things, so it's nothing much, but I'll just go through it and explain. So mantra 2, we'll read the mantra and then we'll see what's the relation between mantra 1 and what's the theme here. Anyone wants to read? Rupam Prabhuji, ready to read?
Sure, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Kurvam eva hi karmani
Kurvan evaha karmani
jijivishesh chatam samaha
jiji visheshatam samaha
evam dhyayinan yathetosti
evam tvai nanyathethosti
na karma lipyate nare.
na karma lipyate nare.
Translation: one may aspire to live for hundreds of years if he continuously goes on working in that way. For that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. There is no alternative to this way for man.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu. So Charu Mataji already gave a little hint here that mantra 1, 2, and 3, they are interrelated. So that's one theme. So mantra 1, if you have to describe in one word, what will be that one word of mantra 1? Anyone? Bhakti Vijay Mataji saying something.
Ishavasya.
Ishavasya, huh? Ishavasya. So that's the one word you can describe. What's the one word for invocation? Anyone else?
Purnam.
Purnam. So the whole verse is about Purnas, and verse 1 is about Ishavasyam. Now, once we understand this Ishavasya principle, as Charu Mataji was saying, so Ishvara, lives and owns and controls it fully. Huh? So now, once you understand it, what's the application of it? What's the application of it? Now, if you know this car belongs to your friend, he fully owns it and controls it. So, Mohit Prabhu, what's the application of that?
What to say?
So if you know this car belongs to your friend who owns it, controls it, what's the practical application of that knowledge for you, for example? You look after the car nicely, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Otherwise, your friend will not let you drive the car. Simple thing, right? So although he has given you the car, but he owns it and he controls it. So you as a good friend, what you will do? You will take care of that car nicely or whatever thing. So when we understand the whole world belongs to Krishna and he owns it, he controls it, he lives in every single atom of this world, what should we do?
Take care of it.
Take care of it. We live in harmony. As Krishna likes, we work accordingly. Simple as that. Huh? If Krishna likes to look after this car nicely, we look after that car nicely. So that's a simple thing. So mantra 1 and 2, they are very much interrelated. Very simple connection is, if you know the Ishavasya principle, you should live in harmony with that principle. That means you'll not say, I am the owner of this city, this house, this family, or whatever possessions we have. Who is the owner? Krishna is the owner. And I am living as per Krishna's desire. And mantra 3, on the contrary, tells you, if you don't live as per that principle, what will happen? Huh? So this contradictory preaching Krishna is doing in Bhagavad Gita as well. He has done in 4th chapter, 3rd chapter, and in later chapters as well, where he says, if you have Shraddha, you will go to one destination. If you don't have Shraddha, you will go to another destination. So simple mantra 2, if you have to just summarize in one word, you can live in harmony with Ishavasya principle. And if you live in that principle, what will be the result? So Prabhupada writes here in the translation, one may aspire to live for hundreds of years if he continuously goes on working in that way. What do you mean by in that way? Ishavasya principle. And that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. So as you can see, there are some important words here. Binding law of karma. So Prabhupada will start his purport from that. So the first paragraph is explaining how karma bandhan causes death. Anyone wants to read? Vinay Prabhu, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Para 1, how karma bandhana causes death. No one wants to die. Everyone wants to live as long as he can travel. This
Anyone can say, why is that? Why Prabhupada is writing that? No one wants to die. We know that this is the truth, but why is that a truth? I'm not debating is that the truth or not truth. It's definitely true. We all want to drag on to as long as possible. Even a 90-year-old man who has 100 disease, he will not say, okay, let me leave this body. Why is that?
Because we are so attached to this
We
to
are so
enjoy
attached.
enjoy
Okay.
this material world by
Okay, that's. But if I tell you, Mataji, I'll give you another body. Would you like to die? Suppose I can't.
I think we are scared somewhere what body we will get next life. So maybe you just want to
We
enjoy
have no.
this life.
जो मिला है वो enjoy करो ना. Whatever I have, at least enjoy that. This person is saying, I don't know what he's saying, huh? Okay, that's a good point. Another point. What's the root of it? We should all know the root of it.
Is desire, Prabhuji, that we want to live. That's the
Yeah, so
desire.
desire, attachment, same thing. Yeah. What's the root of this? Why we don't want to die? We want to
It's,
live and enjoy forever. Yes, Rupam
it's
Prabhu?
painful.
Although we know that we are going to die, but no one wants to accept that. They think it's not us, it is someone else who's going to die. Like what I think of is the conversation between Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Yaksha, and then Yudhishthira Maharaj answers that ahani ahani
Bhutani
bhutani.
gachanti amalayam sheshavaristani atah sharikim param. Huh? The biggest
Yes.
surprise in the world. Yeah, but my question still is, where does this come
Prabhu,
from?
I think because we are eternal.
Yes, we are
And
also
since
Satchidananda.
Satchidananda, but since we are identifying with the body, we think that body is also like eternal. So that kind of concept is there. So that's the reason we don't want to give up.
Thank you, Prasannatma Prabhu. You just nailed the right point. Because Krishna is Satchidanand, we being part and parcel of Krishna, we are also Satchidanand. Sat means eternity. Ananda means Ananda. We want to enjoy, we want to have all the knowledge, we want to have all the bliss, we want to have all the eternity. Now, but because we are misidentifying with our this body, which is definitely temporary, it says is Asat, is Achit and Nirananda. Asat means it's temporary. Achit means you don't have much knowledge, huh? How much knowledge you have. And Niranand, how much pleasure you get, we all know that. We all coming back from work and I can see all these tired faces dozing off and that's fine. This is how it is so difficult just to hear even at 8 o'clock in the night on Wednesday night. It's very difficult. Huh? So we are Asat, bodily wise, Asat, Achit, Niranand. But in the root, as a soul I'm talking, we are Satchidanand. Now we want to experience that Satchidanand in this temporary Asat, Achit, Niranand body. So it's incompatible situation. It says we are a spirit and the body is matter. It's a very incompatible situation. You try to mix oil and water. Can you mix? It won't mix. You can see it's separate. It's separate. So spirit and matter is, but the spirit inside is saying, no, I want to enjoy forever. I want to live forever. And that's getting represented in a wrong place. But the desire is not wrong because Krishna is Satchidananda. We are all Satchidananda. So it's a very nice line. Okay, please continue, Prabhu.
Okay. This tendency is visible not only individually, but also collectively in the community, society, and nation.
Anyone can give an example for this? So individually we discuss, Prabhupada saying collectively also, this is a valid scenario. We want to live forever. We know we will die. My religion will grow. After 100 years, the whole world will become religion number whatever. Huh? My country, my community, my sampradaya, this, that, we make all the arrangements. So when we leave, even we have said that, when we leave, our children and descendants will become, all of that, all of that. many other religions who are trying to convert some other religions and they're calculating after 40 years or 50 years, if we convert with the rate of n number after 40 years the whole world will become like that religion. So all this, we want to live forever, even if we can't live alone. Our notions, our vichardharas, our ism, Prabhupada writes, has to live. This is a huge problem actually. Okay, we'll just read the next one, Prabhuji, the living entity from here.
The living being is eternal by nature, but due to his bondage in material existence, he has to change his body over and over. This process is called transmigration of the soul, or karma bandhana, bondage by one's work.
Anyone knows the example from Bhagavad Gita for this transmigration of soul? Very quick one. Everyone knows that.
Days mean
Yes, Mataji, thank you. Number?
4.29.
Sorry, Rupa Prabhu?
4.29.
No, 2.13. Krishna just started.
2:13.
2:30. So Asocha and Anusochastam. So that's a 2:11. And Natvevaham Jatunasam, that's 2:12. And Dehinasam 2:13. So like practically the first teachings of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So 2:13. Thank you, Mataji. So transmigration of the soul, that's continuing. Why? The soul is not changing, but the body is changing, because this tendency and our illusory attachment to this body and all the other things to it. So Prabhupada saying, how karma bandhana causes death? Because of this karma bandhana, we are doing so many karma, so many activities, and that's causing taking one body and leaving that body, getting another body. What is that seed of it? Taking one body, growing in the body, leaving the body, taking another body. In 13th chapter, Krishna says a root verse, which you have all actually crammed in your Bhakti Shastri exam. Anyone can remember that verse number? Prasannatma Prabhu is Prasanna.
He said 13:21 Prabhu bhungte.
Thank you. 13:22, Bija Vakya.
22.
Bhungte, Prakriti Jan Gunan. So bhungte means desire to enjoy. Which in a root it's not incorrect, but the current representation is absolutely incorrect. Okay, so second paragraph, human life offers liberation. So we understand the problem. Now Prabhupada writes the solution, which is nice. So many times we just talk about the problem in the world, but what's the solution? Prabhupada gives the solution. Human life offers liberation through akarma. Anyone remembers the three terminology used in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, related to this word akarma? Anyone else? Yes, Priyamata ji.
karma, vikarma.
Vikarma.
Thank you. Karma, akarma, and vikarma. Anyone else can explain it? What this means in a simplistic terms, at least?
Is it, Prabhuji, karma is like, whatever you do, you get equal and opposite reaction to every action.
Thank you.
Vikarma is like you're doing bad, you're not, vikarma was like not getting the right, you're getting bad, is it like bad karma? Like,
Bad karma. But who do you define the bad karma? I steal and I say stealing is fantastic, but you say stealing is bad. Who defines that? So we have to just go to the root again. Vikarma means the prohibited activity as per scriptures.
yeah.
I cannot define it because I may have a definition of, all the bad things, so-called bad things of the world. They are the best things of the world. So vikarma means vikrat karma. Vikrat karma means the karma which is vikrat, not in a original form, prohibited in Shastra. So karma's definition can be the actions which are prescribed in the Shastra, and vikarma is what is not prescribed in the Shastra. Okay, and akarma?
There's akarma is like not getting any karma for that. The karma, like
Reaction, you can say.
no reaction for
No
that.
reaction of that.
Like we are chanting, we are not
That's right.
getting any reaction, any transcendental activities we are doing.
Yeah. So any devotional acts which we perform that come under the category of akarma, that does not produce a good or a bad reaction. You give donation to a temple, for example, for building a new temple, for example. Is it akarma, karma, or vikarma?
Akarma.
Akarma. You sure?
Yes.
Anyone else have any ideas? Mohit Prabhu?
Oh, not getting any karma because you have done.
But it can be karma as well.
Depends, Prabhu.
Depends. It can be karma.
Depends.
Prabhu, won't
It's
it
a
depend
karma.
on how you see it?
What's the intention behind my
Consciousness.
donation?
Intention.
I give $10,000 so that, I will become the #1 donor in the Hare Krishna temple, and then I will get all the perks of it,
Charity and goodness is karma.
Huh? So it can be
Like-
karma. It can be karma. And it can be akarma as well. Akarma means, no, I really want new temple for Krishna. So I'm just trying to help as much as I can. Huh? So that's purely a Krishna conscious activity. It's nothing to do with any karma. So akarma does not just accrue a bad karma, also not good karma. Not good karma. So giving donation is a pious work. It can accrue good karma if you make donation from that perspective. Huh? So Prabhupada says, when a living entity attains a human life, he gets a chance to get free from the chains of karma, because other species are not facilitated like that. If a cat eats a rat, as I think Mataji was reading earlier, she doesn't get any sin of eating the rat. She is a meat eater. Tiger is a meat eater. They just have no opportunity to convert their bad karmas into good karma or to nullify them. But humans have that opportunity. Karma vikarma, karma, karma vikarma are very clearly described in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter. Now Prabhupada gives the definition. Now, last line I'm reading of this paragraph. Consequently, they seek that work which will free them from the reaction of both good and bad work. If you remember, Dinabandhu Prabhu was taking a yatra in Vrindavan, and some people were taking bath in Yamuna. And Prabhuji asked, what's the difference between Ganga and Yamuna? And he himself answered, Ganga liberates you, releases you from all the bad karmas. And Yamuna, he added, he releases you from all the bad actions as well as good actions. And Guru Maharaj said half of the people started walking out. So His Holiness Kadamkaran Maharaj gives this example. And he said half of the people are coming out who want to lose the good karma. Huh? So we hardly have some good karma, and that also Jamna Devi will take away. Huh? We don't have that devotional conscience as yet. We talk about unconditional love, but we are not there. And that's okay. That's why it says ahetuki may not be there, but apratihata should be there. Apratihita means you should constantly practice devotional service, although your mind may not be there as yet. Rasanand Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, sorry, on this question on the karma and akarma, temple, now for instance, I'm donating to temple and then that comes and falls and I take a receipt from the FFL and they submit for tax benefit, which
Yes.
condition it comes to?
Yes, akarma. Why? Because
Akarma?
suppose you give $100 and you get $40 back from the government. The idea is you give that $40 back to the temple. It's not your money. Krishna has provided. So that's why I think I do, and I recommend others as well. So you give, say $200 instead of $100 because you get 40% back anyway. So basically you're paying $120 or something like that. So increase
Okay,
that.
yeah, next year we can rotate that.
Yeah. So we should not think that $40 which comes back to me by government, now it's my money. So actually you only gave $60 in that sense. You didn't give $100. So it's a karma. And as I said again, Bhanu Maharaj said this example from Nectar of Devotion. He said, we are all, Prabhupada said, Bhanu Maharaj said, Prabhupada said this, we are all like that mango, but we are not the ripe mango, we are the green mango. But still Prabhupada considered us as well good devotees. Once Prabhupada was asked how many pure devotees are there in ISKCON, Prabhupada turned around to his secretary and he said, how many registered members of ISKCON? And the secretary said, whatever, 10,000, 20,000, whatever it was. And Prabhupada said, these many devotees are pure devotees. And reporter was like, what? I thought the answer will be only one or two, like some sannyasis and Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, no, they're all pure devotees. So Bhanu Maharaj explained that. He said, we are like green mangoes. The intention at the moment, we can talk about it. The intention is not wrong. The execution of that intention is incomplete. But intention, we are not here sitting looking for some money or some name and fame and some other things like that. We may have some execution problems, like how we execute this intention, but intentionally we are okay. And obviously that is also getting solidified day by day as we come closer to Krishna. Yeah. So is that okay, Rasanand Prabhu? Yeah. So I always encourage devotees to do take FFL receipt, but please donate that back
No,
again.
many times I was feeling guilty about it, Prabhu, so
No,
I just
actually, in your capacity, you are actually giving more to the temple, which helps temple because temple has so many expenses. Okay, so let's go to the third paragraph. Vedas ultimately lead to a karma. Many times we have this notion that Vedas are giving all this karma kanda. If you take Vedas as 100% knowledge, how much knowledge leads to karma kanda, how much knowledge leads to jnana kanda, and how much leads to upasana kanda? Anyone has any ideas? We've talked about it, I think, in the introduction of Isopanishad.
70% around karma kanda.
Thank you. It says 75%, but yeah, you're right. So 75% Vedas talk about karma kanda, which means actually giving carrot to the donkey. If you do this, you get this. If you do this, you get that. Why is that? Vedas is supposed to leading to akarma. Vedesha sarver aham eva vedyo. Krishna is saying of all the Vedas, I am to be known. And then Krishna himself gives the Vedas as in the form of Vyasadeva. And in that 75%, Narad Muni chastising Vyasadeva. What are you doing? Actually, you are bewildering a living entity more. They are already bewildered. Why is that? Is Vyasadeva, he's incarnation of Krishna. He can't make mistake. Why does he give 75% karma kanda? And then Prabhupada has to write specifically here, Vedas ultimately lead to a karma. But we're talking about karma kanda, 75%. Why?
So it's a step-by-step development, right? Slowly, steadily, first we get the carrot and then get to a realization that this is not everything and search for something higher. And that search or intent for looking for something higher will ultimately lead us to Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah.
So it's a start,
Yeah.
but one should not stick to the start only.
Yeah. Yeah, Guru, you're right. And we can say in one word answer is because we are conditioned the soul. Whom we are dealing with? Conditioned soul. Suppose you are teaching an English class to a group of people who come from a non-English speaking background. You have to deal with them as they are, isn't it? They come from a non-speaking English country, and then you have to teach them A, B, C, D, Baba, Black Sheep, and all that. Huh? But if you're teaching to another group of students whose first language is English by birth, you will teach them differently, isn't it? So because we are conditioned soul, we have this conditioning of enjoyment, and Vedas say, okay, you enjoy, but under Vedic authority, But ultimately, as Prabhupada is writing, they are all leading to akarma. Huh? So once you have done a lot of sense gratification, you've gone to Sargloka, come back, Shine Purne Mrityaloka Vishanti and all that, then you just realize, okay, how many times I have to go up and down, up and down, up and down. I have to stop this cycle. Once you realize this, then you go to Upanishads, and this is what we are reading because they talk about philosophy. They talk about what is afterlife. You have done enough sense gratification. You've gone to Swargloka, done it, dusted. You finished it, come back again. Now let's talk about something else. So that's why the 25% is a portion which talks about Jnana Kanda and says 5% around talks about Upasana Kanda or Bhakti Kanda. So Bhakti is very, very rare. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Manushanam Sahasreshu Kashit Yatati Siddha 7.3. Yatatam api siddhanam Kashin Mam Veti Tattvataha. Very, very rare to start the bhakti and to understand is very, very rare. Huh? But ultimately, what Vedas are teaching and why they are doing all this mixing up of 75 plus 20% plus 5%, because they are dealing with this audience, our target audience, which are bad people. If you look at the whole existence, 3/4 existence belong to the spiritual world, 1/4 are the bad one. Huh? So we have to deal the bad people in that way. Huh? In the jail, you have to deal with them in a different way. That's why Durga Devi is dealing with us in this way. And we can't complain. This is how it is. In jail, if you go, you can't say to the guard, the door is not getting open. This is how it's supposed to be. Guard, there's no menu in the jail. Every day I get the same thing. This is how it's supposed to be. You can't complain there. Huh? When we keep whinging, some things will change. Nothing will change. Huh? So Kalyam Shashvatam, it will remain like that. Yes, Rupam Prabhu.
Yes, Rohit, just clarifying. Did you say the progression from Vedas is Upanishad?
In a strict language, when I'm talking about that, yes. But Upanishad technically is the part of Vedas only from a liberal perspective. So yeah, it's the
Yes.
same
And
sub-branch, you can say. So you can say, for example, just for practical understanding, so Rig Veda is a book, Yajur Veda is a book, Upanishads, for example, there's another book. Although technically they're part of the same thing, but practically if you see, so one talks about, a lot of sense gratification. We do this yagya, go to Indraloka, enjoy all those things which Indras enjoy. And then you say, okay, let's go to Upanishad and look about philosophy. Now it's talking about, oh, Purnamada, Purnamidam. So there is something else there. Look for that, search for that. It's not naming it as yet. And then there's another progression. We start naming in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna said, Aham sarvasya prabhu, mamekam sharanam braja. Progressive study.
Yeah. So that was my next question. Would you say the next progression after Upanishad would be Puranas?
Depending who is asking this question. If you're asking a Karma Kandi scholar, he will say, what Puranas? They are Smriti Praman. We don't consider Smriti Praman. Huh? So, not really. If you talk about this question, also the time, if you talk this question in, for example, 5,000 years ago, when Vyasadeva had not written the Vedic literature, they will say, what Puranas? Puranas are for Istri and Vaishyas and Shudras. Sorry to say. That's also written, right? So depending who is asking this question from this perspective, because you know the conclusion now, and you are saying the conclusions are so clear, so we'll go to step by step. But we can't really say as a generic statement because people can challenge you on that.
For Kali Yuga, Prabhu, those who are in Kali Yuga and who are just starting their journey, let's say they are very open, everything is good. In an ideal state scenario, would it
Vedanta
be
Sutra. Vedanta Sutra. And from that perspective, we take Srimad Bhagavatam as a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, which makes perfect conclusion. So Vedanta Sutra, as you can, Veda Anta, the conclusion of the Vedas, and that is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. From that perspective, if you say, rather than saying from Purana's perspective, they will not consider. So go for Vedanta Sutra, natural commentary, and Srimad Bhagavatam. If I'm not wrong, the first canto somewhere, I can't remember the chapter here. Srimad Bhagavatam itself says Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, and it says it's a Pancham Veda. There's a verse there, and I can give you later. So Srimad Bhagavatam says this is the Pancham Veda, and it also says close to that verse, Puranas are not contradictory; they are complementary to the Vedas. Vedas understanding will not be understood properly unless you read Purana. So Srimad Bhagavatam actually supports that. But you take it from that perspective, that will be more effective way of defeating that argument. Okay. Jai Dharma Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Prabhu, regard to that earlier discussion, like the akarma, I think the giving donations or doing any devotional service, even if one is not having the proper mindset. I mean, but I think even in Bhagavatam, there is a mention like akama sarvakamo va moksha kama. Finally, we need to end up. So it will culminate in Krishna consciousness only.
Definitely.
So as long as
719. Bahunam Janam Te Gyanvan Ma Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. 790. It will happen. It will happen. It says whoever has come to Krishna consciousness movement, I think Gauranga Prabhu said that, he is sure. That's what he said. He's sure to go back to Godhead. Now, all of us may feel we have so many weaknesses, we have so many struggles in our life, in our consciousness, we are bad, and that's all true. We all know our weak points. But the point is, as per Shastra, we are all going to go back to Godhead. Because this is how our parampara is. No matter how bad we are, once you are connected to Gauranga Mahaprabhu, your destination is Dhruv. You are going to go back to Godhead. In the second line, Prabhuji said, it's just a matter of time. Someone will go back to Godhead in this lifetime, someone will go after a few lifetimes, and someone will take many, many lifetimes. It is going to happen. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. It's going to happen eventually. You're right. But how, when, where, how many more lifetimes? Some of you, I'm sure, will go back to Godhead in this lifetime. I can see so much sincere devotees are here. But some others will take time. Okay. So let's go forward. I'll just read this line of Prabhupada, very nice, in the third paragraph I'm reading. In this purified stage, the modes of nature, in the purified stage we are talking, goodness, passion, ignorance cannot act. So although you're living amongst the modes are not acting on you. And he is able to work on the basis of Nash Karma. Example, anyone can give an example of this line, what Prabhupada is writing? You are amongst the modes of material nature, but modes of material nature are not acting on you. Any one example? Srila Prabhupada. He was in the world, but he was always a liberated soul. It was not like 5 a.m. in the morning, he's a liberated soul, like us. Sometimes, Mangala Aarti, Dhoti, Kurta, Tilak, all that nice chanting. And when we go to work or while we are going to work, we become sometimes angry, sometimes we disagree, sometimes we do prajalpa, we criticize Vaishnavas, and by the night, the degree increases of all these things. So not like that. Prabhupada, or many other senior Vaishnavas, so they live in the world, looks like they're normal human beings, but they are not. They're completely liberated while living in the world. They don't have to leave the body to get liberation. Rupa Goswami says, you can be liberated while in the body if you're completely surrendered to the Lord. So whatever work they do, that work do not bind them to the cycle of birth and death, because that comes under the akarma category. And rather, Prabhupada said, you not only not get any karmic reaction, rather you get Krishna prema. So if you're helping in Krishna seva, whatever way, so not only you don't get the reaction, but you get Krishna prema, you get upliftment actually by doing those activities. Okay, part 4, begin by bringing. So now not everyone is ready to do that, because people are at different levels, as we were discussing earlier, because we are conditioned soul. We are not ready to bring God completely in our life on a akarma level. So what Prabhupada is saying, begin by bringing God into sense gratificatory life. Believe me or not, Prabhupada said to some drunkards, he said, when you are drinking alcohol, think the taste of alcohol is Krishna. Prabhupada said that. So he knows if I say don't drink alcohol, they will not listen. So Prabhupada, just start, add Krishna. People are having, meat eating, drugs and all that. Prabhupada did not say stop meat eating tomorrow and then come and inside, take bath and then come. No, they will come in that condition. Prabhupada will welcome them. Prabhupada will give them nice katha and nice prasadam, and they will go and take drugs again. So pre-class drugs, post-class drugs and all that. But by having association of Prabhupada, by having association of Shastra, association of holy names, slowly they got purified. So Prabhupada is saying, begin by bringing God into sense gratificatory life. And the best example is Vaman Dev. When Vaman Dev comes to Bali Maharaj, what does he say? Just 3 steps land. And Bali Maharaj said, no, take more. I am a small boy. What do I need? Just give me a little place. You go to a Hare Krishna program, Damodar months or something, they will just take Radha Gopinath photo, put it on your table. That's it. That's where it starts. Just one photo, one diya, one agarbatti, one holy name, just one mala, one mala. Once a week, one mala. Come to Glenfield Hall program. Just come to hall program, eat and enjoy. And after 2 years, you see, they have no space in their own house for themselves. If you go to the kitchen, I'm sure in all of your kitchens, how many cupboards have your plates and your spoons? And how many cupboards have Krishna's plates and Krishna's spoons and Krishna? The whole kitchen is taken over by Krishna. You will have one little cupboard. Okay, these 2 plates are for me. Everything else is for Krishna. Even the scrubbers, non-devotees come to the house, is like, what? Scrubber is also separated. They get shock actually. They get shock. Don't touch this spoon, don't touch that. The whole house, you have no place for yourself now. This is how Krishna takes over. Vaman Dev increases the size. Looks very little, but this where someone quoted the verse, Akama Sarva Kamava. Doesn't matter where you start from, start your journey. Bring Krishna in your life somehow or other. Prabhupada said, never say other people to leave their faith, whatever faith they are following, to a demigod, to another faith. Just ask them to chant the holy name of the authorized name of the God in their own religion. We are not changing. Prabhupada said, we are not here to change anyone's religion. We are here to change their consciousness. That's the whole idea. Prabhupada was never into a conversion. Just read this yellow line, yellow highlighted area. Very nice. An ordinary man works for his own sense enjoyment, and when this principle of sense enjoyment is extended to include his society, nation, or humanity in general, it assumes various attractive names such as altruism, socialism, communism, nationalism, and humanitarianism. So, and we can experience that. Not that they are wrong. We're not saying that. In the ladder, they sit lower to Krishna consciousness. Because why? I may be the best patriotic person of my country. I'm trying to save my country. Why? Because I identify my country with my body. I have taken birth in this land, I belong to this land, and I have to protect it. Very nice. But once you, Prabhupada said, you may die in India and then you can take birth in, I wouldn't say the immediate neighbor, Afghanistan or something. Huh? Then you will fight from that country. Huh? Today you're fighting from this country, tomorrow you'll fight from that country. So it is related to body, and that's why in 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I think verse 8, 9, 10 or 9, 10, 11, Prabhupada talking about these three levels. So work for Krishna in the highest. If you cannot work for Krishna, the lowest is at least you do some selfless activity. Work for someone. It can be your family, it can be your community, it can be your nation. So once you start working on selfless platform, then you can work on that highest platform. Para 5, without God, everything is in vain. And Prabhupada gives example of 240. Anyone remembers this verse, 240? Who has not spoken as yet? जय धर्म प्रभु की जय नेहा विकर्मा शोस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पम कृष्ण धर्म से त्रायते महतो भयात्. Even if you do a small devotional service, it can save you from the greatest fear. And that's what Prabhupada said. In 8.4 million species, getting the human birth is very, very rare. But if you get it, do at least something by which you will not glide down to an animal species. Prabhupada said, at least get that much sukrati that you get human birth in next life. Human birth, because that way you can continue. If you become a bhans, you can't continue. Huh? With all due respect to buffaloes, but buffaloes cannot chant, they cannot read Shastra, they cannot go to temple and attend Mangala Aarti. Huh? So they have some limitation of the body. And the last paragraph, Prabhupada says, make all altruism into karma yoga. So again, giving a solution of the whole problem. Even though such God-centered activities may be half finished, they are still good for the executor because they will guarantee him a human form in his next birth. Anyone remembers a shloka of Bhagavad Gita in this regards? Elsewhere, not 240, obviously. But just give me the section. Anyone?
640, no,
Thank
chapter
you.
640, 41, where
Janma
Janma Eshwara Shrutash.
That you
That is
refer to Kunti
Bhagavatam.
Maharani verse
Yeah, but similar one.
1826.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Prapya Purnagatam Lokanishita Shashwati Sama. So Prapya Purnagatam, when you accumulate all the punya, then you take Suchi Nam Shim Tam Gehe Yog Vrashto Vijayate. Shuchi means pious family you take birth. Or in a very rich mercantile family, Shri Matam. Shri Matam means very opulent family you take birth. So Prabhupada is saying, even though God-centered activities may be half finished, but they are never lost. They are never lost. So even Prabhupada said, if you stop your Krishna consciousness at 8%, next life you start from 9%, where you have stopped in this life. But if you have to, get 100% marks in your Bhakti Shastri exam, don't get 8, 9, 10. Pass the exam in one hit, and then you don't have to worry about it. Just hit and go. That's what we are trying. So how one can execute God-centered activities is elaborately explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami, which we'll read later. So obviously, we haven't covered that book yet. Now, these diagrams I'll share with you later, so you don't have to take any screenshots. So again, it's a very nice way of explaining the whole verse. So Prabhupada's purport, problem, solution, benefits of solution, how to practically apply the solution. So what are the problem? I'll just go to a different diagram here. Karma bandhan is the problem. Why? Not acting according to Ishavasya principle. How sense gratification it is. So many things we have on a personal level or on a community level or on a national level. What's the solution? 3 parts: when, what, and how it works. So when only human life, you can convert all this. You have an opportunity now, 8.4 million species. For example, one Maharaj gave, he says, if you're locked in a killa, in a fortress, for example, which has 8.4 million doors, and you are blind, so you have a stick, and you go and touch. If there's a door open, and you say no, door is not open. Next door you go, door open, not open, door open, not open. Like all the animal species, plant species, aquatic species, the door is not open for liberation. And when it comes to the human species, what happens? You get an itch on your head. And you leave that door, you go to the next door, and the door is locked again. What is that itch? Sense gratification. Ahara nidra bhaya maithun. So I have to eat nicely, I have to arrange nice accommodation. I have to have a big house, at least a 10-bedroom house I should have. I should have at least $3 million in my bank account. At least 20 community people should bow down to me. They should consider me good devotee in our community, we can say. All these things we are worried about. Radhesham Prabhu was saying in one of the classes, saying the effort which we put in getting this so-called certificate of being a good devotee from others, he said, if we put less effort in being a good devotee, not so-called a good devotee, in being a good devotee, we'll actually become better devotee. So many times we want to show others how great I am, and everyone should say, Prabhuji, your class was so great, your service was so good. Oh, you're such a pure devotee. And internally we feel like, thank you, please speak more. So effort you are putting in getting the certification from others of being so-called devotee. He said, no, you have to just try to be a good devotee. Try to be Krishna conscious. At 5 a.m. you're Krishna conscious. 7 a.m. you're Krishna conscious. 9 p.m. you're Krishna conscious. 11 p.m. you're Krishna conscious. He says, don't try to be a great devotee, which we all try to, generally speaking. Try to be a good devotee. Try to be a good devotee. And in being process of being a good devotee, you will become great. Prabhupada never tried to become great. Prabhupada said, even if I make one disciple, I will be able to please my Guru Maharaj. He said that somewhere. He said, if I can make just one disciple in Western world, so the mission, my mission will be successful. He did not try to make so many thousands of disciples, but Krishna made that arrangement. And Prabhupada said very clearly, Krishna made me more successful than what I expected. He said that Krishna made me more successful. So if we become a pure devotee or a good devotee, automatically things will happen. What we look forward to, other certification, thumbs up. Wow, you are so great. We don't need to actually get that. We will automatically become great in that journey of being good every time. Okay, let's do mantra 3. Very important verse. This is for us. Very relevant verse. Who would like to read? Divya Mata, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Asurya nama te loka.
Asurya nam te loka.
Andhena tamasavrata.
Andhena tamasavrataha.
Tamsate prayabhigachanti.
It's a pretya. Preta word, bhuta
Pritya.
preta. So preta means afterlife. And abhigachanti means send or goes. So if you break it, that's a very easy word.
Tamsate prit abhigachanti.
Tamste pretya abhigachanti.
Ye ke chatmahano jana.
Ye ke cha atmahano. So atmahano is one word. Cha is one word. Jana is people. So ye ke cha atmahano jana.
Anujana.
So we can break it and then it becomes easier.
Translation, the killer of the soul, whoever he may be, must enter into the planets known as the worlds of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance.
Thank you, Mother.
Thank you.
So now in this verse, as we already know the theme, so this is related to, again, verse 1. Verse 2 was, if you follow the Ishavasya principle, what happens? And what was the answer? We just read it. Anyone can give a one-line answer. If we follow Ishavasya theme, what will happen? Mantra 2.
We'll take care of it.
Yes, sorry, say again, Prabhuji. Mohit Prabhu.
We give to the example, we take care of it.
We take care of it. Yes.
Continuation.
So basically, you don't get a karma bandhan. So if you
bandhan.
follow Ishavasya principle, you don't get karma bandhan. While you're living in the world, you can live for hundreds of years. It doesn't matter. So you can say, what is the reward for that? Now, verse 3 shows what is the punishment if you don't follow verse 1. Punishment. So Krishna is saying it. Asurya namate loka. So they are asura. So first word Krishna uses here. With a strong word, asura. Anyone knows the meaning of asura? Everyone knows, but asur, sur and asur. What is sur and what is asur?
Demon and demigod.
Thank you. Demon and demigods. That we know. And how do you define it further? So that's a translation. Vinay Prabhu said the translation. How do you define it further? Who is Asura? I feel I'm a dawn number one of the whole world, and I can say I am the best person of the world. I am the demigod. Everyone is a demon. I can say that. Hiranyakashipu, Kansa. Kansa thought I am the demigod. Krishna and all the Brajavasi, they are demons. As per Kansa, I'm saying. Hiranyakashipu thought Vishnu is so bad. Ravan thought, Ram, how dare he has stolen the wife of Ram, and he is saying Ram is so bad. So now I can say, I am the Devata, everyone is Asura. I can say that. Who will define? Again, when we're talking about karma, vikarma, and akarma, we gave a definition attached. So we cannot say just demon and demigods. What we have to say, one who is following Lord Vishnu is Asura, one who is going against Lord Vishnu, he is a Asura. Simple. So we have to attach. If we don't attach, it just become very relative definition. Thief thinks I am best, police thinks I am best, but they both have to look at the constitution. So if I'm doing some unauthorized activity, I have to be punished. Because there's a constitution in that country which does not allow me to do that. So here we are talking about Krishna's constitution. So we are called Asura. Another meaning of Asura says there are multiple meanings actually. Asu and Ra. So Asu means jaldi jaldi. 1 to 7. Janyatu Asu Vairagyam. Asu refers to jaldi jaldi. Bhagavatam 1 to 7 says Asu Vairagyam means Vairagya will come in that person very soon. Detachment will come in that person very soon. So Asu refers to jaldi jaldi, hesitatingly. And Ra means body. So one who enjoys the body jaldi jaldi, quickly. I want quick sense gratification. This world is all about, quick gratification. We have 2-minute Maggi noodle. Quick, mummy bhook lagi hai. Here it is, Maggi noodles. So quick. Any time we want, we send a message on WhatsApp. We want quick response of the person. Blue line aa gayi, response nahi kiya. He has read my message. He has responded as yet. So we want quick movie. And nowadays people don't listen the full lecture. So we have shorts. You get Kadam Kanan Maharaj or Prabhupada shorts. 30-second short. People's concentration is just going. Everything is quick. So one who wants quick gratification, he's known as Asura. And Asu also means breath, and Ra means body. Who wants to breathe in the body fast? Breathing fast means enjoying this body fast. He's also called Asura. So Asurya again, who is going against the principle of Ishavasya. Asurya nam te loka. They go to a loka. And what's the qualification of that loka? Andhena tamasavrataha. Andhen refers to darkness, and tamas refers to ignorance. So Prabhupada writes, that is full of darkness and ignorance. Tamste pretya. Pretya means after life they will be sent. So their place is already booked. If you're not following Ishavasya principle, you get a free house. You know that? You don't have to pay any EMI for that. Interest rates are free. There is no tollway. There's a freeway which goes there. And where is it? In Narak Loka, in hellish planetary systems. You get a free stay over there for thousands and thousands of years. Tamste Pretya Yate. And who are they? Now Krishna himself describes. Cha Atma Hano Janaha. Atma refers to? Anyone can say, what does Atma word mean? Rasanan Prabhu.
So soul.
Soul or Atma has
Even
multiple
body.
meanings. Atma means body, yes. And?
Yeah, even body and mind.
And?
Mind.
And? Super soul as well. Atma can have multiple meanings. Here, as you said, Prabhuji, correctly, here Atma means soul. Hano means hata. Ha.
Killer of the
to
soul.
destroy. And Prabhupada's right. Killer of the soul. Now, this looks very against to the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Soul cannot be destroyed. Nainam chendam dishastrani, nainam dhati pavaka, na chainam klediyantapo, na shoshati martha. Soul cannot be cut into pieces by any weapon. Soul cannot be burnt by fire. Soul cannot be withered. Soul cannot be made wet by water or withered by the marut, by the air. So here Krishna is saying killer of the soul. What does it mean? What do you mean by killer of the soul? Can you really kill the soul? You wipe off the existence of the soul. Once Prabhupada was asked this question, can Krishna wipe off the existence of a soul? Because it says soul is eternal. Now, this is a very tricky question. It's like 20-20 catch. You give one response. Can Krishna lift a hill which he can Krishna create a hill which he cannot lift? Can Krishna wipe off the existence of a soul? These sort of questions, very tricky questions. Vijay Gopi Mataji, what's the response?
Yes,
Can
Krishna can do anything.
Krishna can do anything, but he create a mountain which he cannot lift?
Yes, he can create a mountain and then he can lift.
Haribol. Thank you. You heard Prabhupada lecture, huh? So Prabhupada said very nice. Yes, he can create a mountain and then he will lift it as well. So Krishna, yes, he can wipe off the existence of a soul. He has the superpower. He can do anything. But Prabhupada said he will not do it. So soul will be eternal. Soul will be eternal. So killer of the soul here does not mean a literal meaning. It has a metaphorical meaning, which means killing the consciousness of the soul. Suppose Prabhupada said, follow 4 regs, right? Now, if you're not following 4 regs, what will happen? Not that, you will still survive. Many people are not following 4 regs. Doesn't matter. But what will happen? The opportunity which you can give to your soul of becoming Krishna consciousness is lost. Isn't it? Many people come and join Krishna consciousness. They take even initiation, Brahman initiation, and then they go back to the world. Sometime formally, sometime informally. Formally means they literally leave the temple. Informally means they still keep coming to the temple, but they don't chant anymore. They're following meat sometimes. And I've heard onion garlic is just normal. They have alcohol bottles in their fridge, and all those things are happening. They're eating in KFC. So they don't leave the temple, but they leave Krishna consciousness from that perspective. So why? So if they do that, what happens? They are leaving the opportunity which is being given by our great souls. So it's not the soul will be killed literally. What will happen? The opportunity to uplift the soul, they are losing day by day by doing those activities. Let's read the purport. So the theme here is how living in disharmony with the service principle harms the living entity. So Prabhupada describes suras, godly person, asuras, which we discussed. Killer of the soul, human body considered as a body. This is very nice, actually. I was reading this. Can anyone read this paragraph? It's very nice. Prabhupada has written. Prema Mata, would you like to read?
मेरे इसमें बड़ा नहीं होगा प्रभु
अच्छा,
मैं
कोई बात
मोबाइल
नहीं, कोई बात नहीं माता जी.
और
Anyone?
इसमें बड़ा नहीं
Can I read?
Sure, Rupam Prabhuji.
The second para, right?
Yes,
The
Prabhuji.
highlighted. Intelligent human beings must always remember that the soul obtains a human form after an evolution of many millions of years in the cycle of transmigration. The material world is sometimes compared to an ocean, and the human body is compared to a solid boat designed specially to cross this ocean. The Vedic scriptures and the acharyas or saintly teachers are compared to expert boatmen, and the facilities of the human body are compared to favorable breezes that help the boat ply smoothly to its desired destination.
So we'll just stop here just for 1 second. So I've got this verse, which I had to search for. I didn't know this verse, to be honest. This is the 11th canto, 20th chapter, 17th verse. This is Krishna speaking with Uddhava in Uddhav Gita. So Prabhupada is writing the translation of that verse just to prove the point. So we can have a side note. Beautiful verse. It says, Guru Karn Dharam. Guru Karn Dharam. Guru is the captain of this boat. So if we surrender to our Guru, like we lead our life as per our Guru's instruction, then it can go to a very nice destination. If we lead our life from sense gratification perspective, then the boat can go in a very different direction. Very famous reference, Guru Karntha, 11-20-17. Yes, Prabhuji.
If with all these facilities a human being does not fully utilize his life for self-realization, he must be considered Atmaha, a killer of the soul. Sri Isopanishad warns in clear terms that the killer of the soul is destined to enter into the darkest region of ignorance to suffer perpetually.
So it's a very nice explanation. Okay, for perpetual word, I got 2 Bhagavad Gita verses here. So 16:19 and 16:20. You can make a note if you like. I'll just read the translation quickly. So 16:19, Tan aham dishata kruran sansareshu naradham shipami ajrasham. Ajrasham word is used here. Ajrasham means perpetually. Krishna is saying this verse. So I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence into various demonic species of life. So whatever Prabhupada is writing based on Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And 1620 again is Bhagavad Gita verse. Asarim yonim apanna mood janmani janmani. So they are moodhas. Huh? And what do they get? Birth after birth? Asurim yonim. They get demonic species. Demonic species refers to again lower species. And mam aprapya konte. Everyone wrote this correctly in their assignment, and I think the exam question as well. Mam aprapya. So mam. So they will never achieve Krishna, practically speaking. Tato yanti adhamam gatim. So their gati is adhamam. Once Prabhupada was asked, so Prabhupada, do you really say this is a perpetual caste by Krishna? As in Christianity, we hear, word eternal damnation. Prabhupada responded very nicely. He said, nothing except pure devotional service is permanent. Everything is temporary. Huh? So Krishna telling all this word ajrasham here, mam aprapyakonte, what does it mean? It clearly refers to Krishna's love for even those entities who deny to accept that Krishna exists. Huh? Love for. It's like a father telling to the kid, if you don't do this, don't come back into my house. Huh? Does father really saying kid to not enter back into the house? Every father or mother loves their children, but they're telling basically to the kid, don't do that. Please don't do that. You're harming yourself. Please don't do that. So actually Krishna's love just getting represented in some harsh words here. Prabhupada said, nothing is permanent. Your devotional service, whatever you have done for Krishna's pleasure, that's the only permanent asset you have. Okay, paragraph 3, understanding our responsibility. So once you understand, your body is like a boat, guru is like a captain, and we are getting help from scriptures as a good breeze. What should you do? Understanding our responsibility as a human being. So we can read this yellow paragraph. Yes, Prabhu, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Why is man given a better life than that of the swine and other animals? Why is a highly placed government servant given better facilities than those of an ordinary clerk? The answer is that a highly placed officer has a discharge duties of a higher nature. Similarly, the duties human beings have to perform are higher than those of animals.
In the Mahabharata, there's a famous verse, Ahar Nidra Bhai Maitunasha Samanyan Enam Pashabhe Nananam Dharmo hi eko adhiko vishesho dharme nahina Pashubhir Samana. So Ahar Nidra Bhai Maitun, this eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, they are both common between animals and in humans. Animals also do that. Prabhupada said, a dog is, associating with a she dog in a street. You are doing that in a palace. A dog is eating on the street on the just from the road, and you are doing that on a dining table. What's the difference? You both are doing the same activity, but what differentiate you from the dog or similar animals is dharmo hi eko adhiko vishesho. Dharma. If you don't know dharma, dharme nahina, you're a two-legged animal. Same thing. So Prabhupada writes here, yet the modern soul-killing civilization has only increased the problems of hungry stomach. So we think like we are developing, we are not developing. Okay, let's move forward. The consequences of the misuse of the human form of life. Someone else can read.
I can do.
Yes, Mataji.
Consequence of misuse of the human form
Just
of life.
the yellow part.
Yellow. Okay, sir. If a man fails to discharge his duties as a human being, he is forced to transmigrate to the Asuriya planets and takes birth in degraded species of life to work hard in ignorance and darkness.
Now, if someone says, "Dekha jayega," we'll see when it comes. What's the response based on these discussions? Someone can throw some ideas. Because many people say like that, "Dekh lenge." Abhi to maza karo. Right now, you enjoy your life. When it will come, we'll see. What's the response of that? Why are you wasting your life in these Hare Krishnas? You become mad. You got this tilak now. What's the name? Nitai Sevani Mataji, she was telling in a class in a very humorous way. She was saying, when you go to the friends, they say, why you are not normal anymore? When the Sunday comes, you have to go to temple. When the holidays come, you have to go to yatra. When we take you to the a restaurant, you say, nahi prasadi khana hai. All these things. Why you guys are not normal? Live normal life. Why you're abnormal? What's the response? Who has seen God? Now we are seeing the same thing Prabhupada saying. A man is forced to transmigrate. But we'll say, okay, it's just a line in a book. What's the response?
Actually, Prabhu, this is the normal life, but what we are living at the moment in the material world is abnormal. This is our dharma.
Thank you. Okay, that's a devotional answer, but how would you respond to that person, Mataji? Now, what you're saying is correct. I'm not denying it, but just for the sake of understanding this subject matter. So, Prabhupada, he's forced, and we believe it. We believe it.
So, but by following the Krishna consciousness, we are not losing anything. We are still enjoying everything in a spiritual way.
Yeah. Once Prabhupada was asked by a reporter, what if Krishna doesn't exist? He was asked this question. What was the response of Prabhupada? He said, even if Krishna doesn't, Prabhupada is speaking right now, me, even if Krishna doesn't exist, we actually live a very healthy life. We get up early in the morning, we chant God's name, we eat vegetarian prasadam, we live in a clean place, we have clean friends. Huh? If you go out in the society, actually, they're surrounded with so many unclean people, unclean, literally. Huh? We are surrounded with very clean-minded people, or at least, practically clean-minded people, if not technically. We have the best feast. We have so many festivals to enjoy. We have so much love. It's just such a perfect environment. Prabhupada said, even if Krishna doesn't, we have led a very good life. And then he asked back to this reporter, imagine if Krishna does exist. We didn't lose anything, but you have lost the opportunity. Huh? We have lost the opportunity. Huh? Just thinking Krishna. So even if Krishna doesn't exist, we are living one of the best lives actually. We live in the best apartments. Everything is just so nice given by Krishna, and we are fully satisfied. Whatever is going on is fine. But you are in trouble. You are in trouble. So my previous question was basically coming down. If someone doesn't have faith, you can't give them faith in one argument. It will just not happen. It will just not happen. Huh? It's a journey. And we can also see in our life, when we came to Krishna consciousness, at least I can talk about myself, we had some faith. I will not say no faith, but the faith has increased. Huh? Someone was saying in one class, if you take this 9 stages of bhakti from Shraddha to Prema, Shraddha is called a very small faith, and Prema is the highest faith. So Prema is also faith, Shraddha is also faith, but Shraddha is a very little faith, and Prema is the highest faith. It's a journey of faith. Radheshyam Prabhu was saying, if a person is not taking the book, don't overspend the time with that person. Rather, you go to another 50 people who are ready to take the book. So it's a matter of faith. If you don't have faith in Shastra, in this book, that's fine. No problem. You lose the opportunity, not us. We keep moving. We keep moving. Okay. Paragraph 5. Anyone else who hasn't read today?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
Okay. So paragraph 5, fate of those who fail to recognize the Lord's proprietorship and acts whimsically by disregarding the law of nature, i.e. acts in a vikramic way. A man who enters upon the path of self-realization but does not complete the process, despite having sincerely tried to realize his relationship with God, is given a chance to appear in family of Shuchi or Sriman.
So we already discussed about it. So Prabhupada gave this quote 641 to 43. Thank you, Charu Mataji, for giving here. Okay, yes, Prabhuji.
The person who fails to achieve self-realization is given a better chance in his next life due to his sincere efforts in this life.
So we should be very, very faithful. Chaitanya Prabhu was speaking in one class. He said the worst thing a devotee can feel for himself is feeling hopeless. Many times devotees say, I am so useless. I am so hopeless. And they really feel it. But that's going into, mode of ignorance. I'm useless. He said the worst thing a devotee can do is feel hopeless about himself. Bhakti is a very, very hopeful process. No matter how fallen we are, Krishna's holy name is much more powerful than that. It says one holy name of Krishna can uproot the number of sins which you cannot even commit. Which cannot even commit. So Krishna's name is very powerful. This whole process of bhakti is very powerful. Our line of acharyas is very, very powerful. Just have faith in them. Once Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj was asked by Srila Prabhupada to give a Bhagavatam class, and Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj said, but Prabhupada, I don't know anything. I don't know. I'm not eligible to give class. He was saying like that from his heart. And Prabhupada said, but do you have faith in me? He said, yes, I have faith in you, Prabhupada. So Prabhupada said, have faith in me that I have faith in you that you can give Bhagavatam class or you give Bhagavatam class. So many times we feel it, and I'm not saying we are being humble, we feel it that we are very, very fallen. And we should feel, but we should try to rectify without losing the hope that holy name and the process of Krishna consciousness is much more powerful than what sins we can commit. It's not to encourage you to do sinful activities, but it's just to encourage you that process is very, 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 very strong. And line of our acharyas, my Guru Maharaj said in one class, when you die and you go back to Krishna or try to go back to Krishna, you cannot show at the gate, I have done 21 Nirjala Ekadashis. I have done 49 Govardhan Parikramas, bare feet. And I've gone to this Tirtha and that Tirtha, and I was chanting 32 rounds while sleeping. You cannot show all that. You will try to show. It will not fetch any marks. Amog Lila Prabhu said the similar thing. He said, only mark you will get is one. Guru Maharaj said 1 mark. Amog Lila Prabhu said 2 marks. Guru Maharaj said 1 mark. And then Maharaj said, how will we go back to Godhead then? He said, does these things not count? He said, they do count, but they're very little, very little. So what will give us the boost to get the entrance into Vaikuntha? He says, mercy of our acharyas, mercy of our spiritual master. So he said, what you are doing, and he said that, don't argue with me, is only 1% of the process. Because we are so ineligible. But still, if we do that 1% correctly, we get that 90% from Guru Parampara. We get that 90%. So we are not doing our chanting, our sadhana, this Bhakti Shastri exam, and some doing Bhakti Vaibhav and all that. Very nice, and you should do it. We cannot get this eligibility of 100% on our own. But while doing this, we attract our Guru Parampara's mercy to say, you are our only savior. I'm just like a kid, trying a little bit. But if we do that sincerely, they give the mercy and they say, okay, aajane do. Let him come inside. He's not so bad. He tried few things in his life. Some Govardhan Parikramas, and Maharaj said, in the side where you are drinking Coca-Cola, some cold drink while doing parikrama. He said, parikrama is like an altar. Class should be treated like an altar. We are at the altar. We don't get disturbance by a phone call and this and that. We should not actually check our phones while listening or speaking, obviously. This is like an altar. We are with the deities right now. Our deities, this book, Bhagavad Gita is Isopanishad. They are the book. They are the deity. And while speaking or listening, we are doing the arti. So while doing arti, should we get distracted? We should not. And that's why a humble request, which we try to make to all of you, switch on your cameras, listen. Again, not to me, I am no one. We are trying to study together Prabhupada books. I didn't mean to point out any names here, but the point is we are doing worship of Krishna together. And if we do that worship nicely, by the mercy of Prabhupada, our heart will be purified. So that's what the little trial is. Okay, Sundar Gopal Prabhu. I'll just read it myself quickly. Sorry, we are just getting a little late. So, people who are too materialistic and too attached to material enjoyment must enter into the darkest region of hell. Now, Prabhupada writes the final. Such asuras devoid of self-realization and knowledge of Isavasya, the Lord's universal proprietorship are certain to enter into the darkest region. I've given the reference here, 1617 and 1618. And the last paragraph, I'll read one line. The conclusion is that the human being, we are meant not to simply for solving economic problems on a tottering platform, which is a shaking platform. Every day world is shaking, but for solving all the problems of the material life into which we have been placed by the laws of nature by following verse 1 of Isopanishad. Okay, I'll stop here. I will not take any questions today. Please write your questions. We'll take it next time. Sundar Gopal Prabhu, any quick announcements?
There's just one announcement that the class on the 27th will actually not take place on 27th. We'll have a makeup class for that on the 28th. That would be special class by Ghanshyam Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. So 27th, we have another festival, actually, temple-related festival. So we will be involved there, quite a few devotees from this group as well. So we will have the class, not on Wednesday, we'll have class on Thursday. And we are getting Ghanshyam Prabhu. So please try to make that class and we'll publish that closer to the date. But we're just putting the diaries, 27th March, no class, 28th will be the class. Okay, let's stop here. And tomorrow is Ekadashi. So let's get ready for Ekadashi by sleeping early and trying to get up early for Mangala Aarti tomorrow. We'll see you all there, at least in your mind. Hare Krishna. Srila